teaching primary PE. What are we learning today? So the key message that I want to share with you today is to prepare your lesson in advance. Prepare your This is so powerful in terms of making sure that the pace of your lesson is effective, if not excellent. So a lot of teachers, they put the equipment out after the warm-up, which is a really bad idea, especially when you want to increase the pace of your lesson. So a good idea is to have the cones laid out, red cones around the outside. This is our safe zone. Nobody goes outside the safe zone, for example. And then make sure you've got a ball on top of each cone. A warm-up that I like to do is called the classic warm-up. The children are jogging around in the space, evading each other as they travel. And then any instruction, they've got to repeat it and then copy it. So you say up, they say up, and if you're doing something like basketball, then they've got to imagine there's a ball above their head and they've got to catch it, for example. You might then want to implement some technique behind that. Okay, I want your thumbs together, fingers spread wide. So when we actually introduce the basketball and we do that skill with the ball, you already have some orientation of how to do that effectively. And then the key part is play this game called Explode. So they're jogging around, they're changing direction, they're sidestepping, they're skipping, they're jogging backwards, thinking about all the coordinated moves that you might do in a basketball game, so it's clearly linked to the success criteria of the lesson and how the children make progress. Now, when you say this word explode, I want you to run to a cone as fast as you can, stand behind the ball, hands on your head. For example, your instructions might be slightly different. It might be run towards the cone, stand behind the ball, and do 5-star jumps and then put your hands on your head. I don't know, it's up to you, but it's got to be linked to the learning and the outcomes that you want to achieve in your lesson. But the critical thing about this is that once they're behind the ball, you can then sit them down and you can demonstrate the next activity or task without any interruption, without any break in the lesson. What I also like about that is you have the opportunity to not only clearly demonstrate, but you also have the opportunity to accelerate the warm-up. You start the warm-up at a very steady pace, and then you have to build the level of intensity of that throughout. So with Explode, you can get them to sprint. So after about phase 2 or phase 3 of your warm-up, you can then get them to sprint and start practicing a little bit more explosive movements, a little bit more speed. And then again, you can just model the next activity. So right, in a moment I'm going to ask you to pick up your basketball. You're going to dribble it around the space, looking for space, trying to avoid other people and keeping control of your ball. Thumbs up if you think you can do that. Yes sir, away you go. Quick interaction, quick interception of what we want to do and how we want them to do it, and then let them play. Don't do this. Don't over-explain. That is one of the biggest misconceptions that teachers make. What I want you to do, they say, what I want you to do, I want you to dribble the ball. Do you think we should have our fingers like this or like this? Do you think we should be looking up or down? Where should we be looking? How should we travel? Do we go faster? Too much information. So go back to my previous video, which is about toe tap, teach one thing at a time. And there's a specific process on this called ODR, observe, demonstrate, rehearse. So you've got to observe the children doing the activity first. Don't demonstrate before the children have done anything, or don't demonstrate in detail at least. Okay, so you can demonstrate the activity, but don't demonstrate the key teaching points that you want them to do, because what you're doing then is you're guessing what they're going to learn. And what you want to do is have some elasticity within your learning objective, within your lesson plan, so that you can see where the common misconceptions are. And then immediately you start at the base level. What is the biggest misconception that the children are making, and how can they make progress? And then you can go in and teach that. So that misconception might be, for example, that might be spatial awareness. They might all be cluttered up together. Right, freeze, 3, 2, 1, ball in hands, eyes and ears on me. Fantastic. Hands up who thinks they're in space. Look around. Okay, so what do we need to do to create space? And you can ask those questions. Right, now we're in space, now we've developed that skill, now we can move on to the next thing, which might be how we bounce the ball, which might be bouncing it at waist height. And then the next thing might be something else. Do you understand? So you've got to really look back and see where the common misconceptions are, and then you can step in, teach one thing, step back out, make sure they get to a certain degree of mastery with that technique or skill, and then you can progress it again. introduce the next teaching point. I hope you found that this video was meant to be 1 minute long, but I got carried away. I got excited. I love teaching. What can I say? I hope you found it useful. Have a great day. Love teaching.